It is finally here, people. Happy Monster Hunter Wilds release day. That's right, 2025's Game of the Year is already here, and it has not disappointed. It is honestly way cooler than the beta was, even though the beta was incredible. If you haven't picked this game up yet, make sure you get it as soon as possible because it is amazing. Huge shout outs to Capcom for giving me a early release key so that we can get started on the journey and have some content out for you on release day. And on top of making an incredible game, Capcom has also done what I believe to be the impossible. They made the best insect glaive ever. I know the insect glaive is not one of the most popular weapons among the hunters out there, and so I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible so you guys could see how awesome this weapon is and all of the changes that were made so you can use it straight from your first hunt, instead of what I would recommend in older games, which was use a different weapon first and then switch to the insect glaive later because the bug was just way too slow to matter. So the first big point I wanted to mention, and I kind of already did, is that the insect glaive is actually usable in the early game. This hunt on screen is one of the first monsters, I think the second or third monster in the game. And you can see just how fast you get all 3 essence. You can actually obtain essence if you just attack the monster while in focus mode. Your beetle will attack with the glaive. And as you do that, it will collect essence from the different parts of the monster that you're hitting. And you can also just send it out and collect essence as you normally would in the old games, which doubles the way you can get the essence. Hugely awesome change. It makes it so you can learn the ground and pound combos a little earlier on, because those are the big damage combos in this game. The aerial combos don't do a ton of damage, but they're really cool for repositioning and attacking through big attacks and stuff like that. The way that they have designed it now is that you can use it from Hunt 1. So thank you, Capcom, for letting us have a usable insect glaive from the rip. The next thing I want to talk about is the instant access to blunt versus severing Kinsects. If you go to the smithy, there will be an option to manage your Kinsects, and that will actually allow you to purchase different types of Kinsects for the glaive that you're using, and also raise them with materials that you get from monsters. Whenever you raise a Kinsect, you can change its attributes, such as if it's going to give you recovery or induce paralysis, things like that. It also increases its speed, but the main thing you want to look at when you're choosing your base Kinsect is the blunt versus severing damage type. Now, the insect glaive is a severing weapon already and has no problem chopping tails on hunts. So if you want to chop tails faster, you could use a severing Kinsect, but I think that's a little redundant. And starting in Monster Hunter Rise, when the Kinsect would actually attack with your weapon, depending on the Kinsect you had, the blunt Kinsects could actually stun monsters just like a hammer would on a hunt. You wouldn't get as many stuns, but if you're solo hunting with an insect glaive, having the option to stun just because you have a blunt Kinsect is really valuable, and that is why I choose to run blunt Kinsects on every insect glaive build, because it just diversifies the types of damage you can do, and even on a multiplayer hunt can really increase the value of your weapon and allow you to do a lot more things that other weapons just don't have the option to do. Like a long sword can't cause blunt damage. So just a really cool dual damage type effect that the insect glaives get. And if you choose a blunt Kinsect and attack with your focus mode attacks, then you will be doing blunt damage to the monster. So if you attack the head, then you can cause stun if you do enough of that damage. One of the cool things they did, which kind of helps with the first point of making it usable in the early game, is that you actually can instantly get all 3 extracts from your bug if you do a wound destroying attack, so the L2 R1 attack on a wound of a monster. If you do that, then follow it up with a triangle. Then you send your Kinsect out to the wound and it pops it and brings back all 3 essence, which is an instant way to get into the full combos, and is something that you should really be taking advantage of as much as possible on your hunts, especially whenever you first encounter the monster. You want to try to get a mount as soon as possible, cause a couple of wounds. How I do it is I destroy the back wound from the mount, and then whenever the monster is on the ground, I will destroy the head wound because it's a little easier to access. Pop it, get all 3 extracts, and boom. Following up on that point, I want to talk about mounts, because oh my goodness, you get so many mounts with this weapon. You can come in on a monster, do a couple of aerial attacks, and I would say by the 4th one, at least every time, you are on the mount, causing wounds to the monster's back and head, popping it for full extract. In the early hunts, I didn't quite recognize this, so I would go up and try to do the ground pound thing, send my bug out, collect extract. But as soon as I realized how fast you can actually mount a monster, I kind of made it my goal to, like I said, just go for that right away. You can probably get 5 or 6 mounts a hunt easy, and I believe is really one of the points of power of this weapon is not only the ability to cause both severing and blunt damage, but also the ability to just constantly bring the monster to the ground. And another really cool thing about the Insect Glaive and just weapons in general in this game is that you actually have access to some pretty powerful status effects really early on. The major one that I noticed for the Insect Glaive was the paralysis from La Labarina. There are quite a few monsters that are susceptible to the paralysis status early in the game, and probably later on too. I haven't got there yet. And you're guaranteed probably at least 2 procs per hunt. I've had 3 to 4. But just getting those free stuns, those free paralysis, the free knocks from the mounts, all of that in the early game adds for a really nice experience and a really powerful weapon that allows you to get through some hunts, to get a lot of materials, and build some cool sets early on. So let's take a step back and look at everything the Insect Glaive can do from a bird's eye view. You can very effectively chop tails. That's something it's always been able to do, just because of its ability to reposition and have severing damage. You can now, from the very beginning, add blunt damage. You can have Kinsects in the early game that have healing dust, so you can actually be a support character as well. And it does the most mounts, which causes the most knockdowns on monsters, which makes it so the team can get a ton of damage in more effectively. Honestly, if you don't have at least one Insect Glaiver on your team or somewhere in the backup weapons, then I don't know what you're doing, because this weapon is incredible. They somehow seem to make it better in every Monster Hunter. I think it's the most dynamic and fun weapon you can use. The design is awesome, with the ability to have a Kinsect that helps you with your power level and can increase it and make you have way cooler combos. Just kind of feeds into the whole lore of the world, and it's an extremely unique weapon to the series itself. For all these reasons, I think it's the best weapon in the game. I definitely think you should give it a shot if you haven't done so already, and see how it can help improve your hunts. Once again, thank you so much, Capcom, for the ability to play this game early and get some content out on release day. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for a lot of Monster Hunter content. We're going to be doing build videos, everything like that. We stream every single night over at twitch.tv/precision, so come join on the hunts, hang out, let me know what weapons you're using. What did I not mention about the Glaive? Let me know down in the comments as well. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching. I hope your time in Monster Hunter Wilds is incredible, just like mine has been. Happy hunting, and we'll see you in the next one.